We're recording, right? Everything good? All right. The nucleus is fairly new. In fact, it was entirely the basis of eukaryote, meaning in. The nucleus contains the DNA and protects it from invaders who would misuse the DNA in order for their own goals. Most cells can't really defend it, like the membrane supposedly can defend it. However, they still get in. The cell membrane is usually designed to protect everything in the cell, except for the DNA. That is the nucleus's job. The nucleus also has to make sure that the DNA does not become corrupted. There are many preventive measures. Most of them are pre-preventative, so they're more active in their attack against cancer developing. For example, we destroy cells before they become cancerous, preventing the possibility that any part of the cell can mutate. This is also why the human body can repair so easily. A kind of finger would take a longer time to repair if the body wasn't so good at it. More notably, the nucleus also is responsible for every part of the cell. That also means that it is responsible for its creation, involving the creation of, say, the cell wall, the production of DNA to make cell walls, also its division and further spreading of the DNA. Why exactly does the nucleus exist? Well, that is specifically because it is designed to keep the DNA safe, which was supposed to be done by the cell membrane. However, there are plenty more reasons, millions. However, there are a few key factors: the destruction of the cell and multiple safety locks that prevent it from happening. When cancer is created, it is usually not too harmful. In fact, there are many cancer cells in every person's body if they live long enough. These cells usually just die off on their own, although some can become cancerous and deadly. The body does actually know how to fight back against it, which comes directly from the DNA. I could keep talking, but I have to keep this short. So I'm going to say 3 things out of the million reasons. 1, nucleus leads the way. 2, we fix our own problems. And 3, we're the best. We have leadership before everyone else. Literally no other cell or organelle can claim that they have experience leading the cell in a eukaryote kingdom. We have the most experience in leadership roles. Therefore, we should be leading as we have experience. We fix our own messes instead of relying on other cells to pick up the slack. And we prevent damage instead of reacting to it. Thank you. Someone wants this. Here you go.
Do you need it to get to speak?
There you go.
What do you mean a little bit louder?
Just make sure.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you got a mic.
Yeah.
Do you need it to project anything else?
We don't need visual. It's okay. Test it. What do I
Just say hello.
Hello?
I don't think it's doing anything.
Okay, it's for the live stream.
That's a note for all of you. When it's recording, that means it's recording everything. So
I don't think anyone.
don't give out any secrets.
It looks like it's on,
Yeah.
but is it actually?
It's the mic for the.
It doesn't amplify. It's just for the
It's just
people
for the
watching
YouTube.
this.
Oh,
Right.
So just clip it.
I don't really know what I'm doing.
There you go. And then
Thank
just
you.
in your pocket or clip
I
it
don't
on your
have
pants.
pockets.
Can you just put it onto like your waistband?
Yeah.
Here. Oh, you know what? Can I put it on your sash?
It might be kind of heavy, but
No. Let me do it. Oh, you got belt loops. Perfect. Is that gonna bother you? Is that
no,
okay?
thank you. Is that going to stay on there? Okay. Hello.
Hey there.
As eukarya prepares for its upcoming election, we find ourselves more divided than ever. Some have even speculated about an ensuing civil war. This conflict has shown that our nation is in dire need of guidance. The time to act is now, and we need a leader that will bring us together. The cell membrane does exactly that. A strong bilayer of phospholipids provides stability, as well as fluidity to accommodate the needs of our ever-changing nation. The cell membrane is what has been holding all of eukarya together for nearly 3 billion years. With its phospholipid bilayer, it retains all organelles, keeping the cell out of utter chaos. The cell membrane also keeps eukarya safe from the viruses and bacteria which threaten its very existence. With its receptor proteins and carbohydrate chains, the cell membrane ensures that only particles necessary to eukaryotic survival may enter the cell. Using glycoproteins, the cell membrane forms alliances with neighboring nations, by bonding together with surrounding countries. The cell membrane also cleans up pollutants in eukarya, sending of our homes. Because eukarya has no cell wall to provide structure, this crucial job falls to the cell membrane, which is able to perform a variety of different tasks, an important skill when running a nation. Some people have raised concerns about the cell membrane acting in discriminatory ways. However, the cell membrane only discriminates against those actively committing acts of terrorism to eukarya. While other candidates such as the Golgi body and nucleus may claim to have the experience necessary for the immense responsibility of running our nation, let it be known that they have nearly 2 billion years of experience according to the National Institute of Health, while the cell membrane has 2.7 billion years of experience. That's nearly 3 billion. Other organelles, such as the mitochondria and chloroplasts, only perform one function. While they are efficient at their individual roles, they do not have the diverse skill set necessary for running eukarya. Conflict in eukarya has brought about painful awareness of the lack of an organelle in chief. The cell membrane has proven to be best equipped for this position, ensuring the safety of all entering and exiting eukarya. Without the membrane, our beloved nation would crumble to pieces. Life as we know it wouldn't have existed in the first place. The cell membrane is more than qualified for this responsibility, and has demonstrated this through billion years of experience, compared to other candidates merely 2 billion. And remember, the cell membrane is holding eukarya together. Thank you.
Yep, hold on. Let's see. We do have a pocket.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Thank you.
Our domain has begun to be swallowed by a rift of hatred, aggression, and belligerent words and actions towards each other. This cannot continue. We are here today to elect our organelle-in-chief, whose responsibility it will be to repair this rift and ease the hurt in our beloved domain. There are 6 candidates: the chloroplast, the cell membrane, the Golgi apparatus, the mitochondria, the nucleus, and myself, the ribosome. The chloroplast, to begin with, is not present in animal cells. You are all made of animal cells. I don't see any plants today here in our audience. Would you really want to be represented by an organelle you don't even contain in your body? Yes, chloroplasts are present in plant cells, and yes, plants do make up most of the biomass of eukarya. The chloroplast brought this fact up in response in questioning as to why it believes that it should represent eukarya. What they forgot to acknowledge is that this means they left you out. They say plants are more common and therefore their candidacy is valid. And that is to in turn invalidate you and your vote. The cell membrane is vital to the protection and the survival of the cells. Its phospholipid bilayer allows the molecules the cell needs in, provides a barrier against harmful molecules, and allows for the exportation of substances out of the cell. Or does it? The phospholipid bilayer by itself only allows for small, nonpolar molecules following their concentration gradient through in and out. Small, nonpolar molecules following their concentration gradient are not the only thing that the cell needs, and some small, nonpolar molecules following their concentration gradient are harmful to the cell. The cell membrane is entirely reliant on protein channels and pumps to truly do its job correctly. These protein channels and pumps are, autonomously, made of protein. It is the ribosome that performs the protein synthesis necessary to make these. The cell membrane is entirely reliant on the ribosome to do its job correctly. Admittedly, yes, the cell membrane is one of the ribosome's closest allies. We provide them with the proteins for their protein channels, their protein pumps, and their receptor proteins. Their selective permeability allows us to receive the molecules we need to synthesize those proteins. But while the cell membrane may be an excellent ally and an excellent guard for the cell, they're not an excellent leader. The cell membrane does not actively engage with as many organelles as the ribosome. The cell membrane is almost entirely unaware of internal activities of the cell. A leader who pays more attention to the external environment than the internal environment simply will not do. The Golgi apparatus helps to transport vesicles, but it cannot do that itself without the cell membrane. The Golgi apparatus by itself can only help with the inside of the cell. Again, a leader who only pays attention to the internal environment instead of the external environment and completely ignoring that will also not do the job correctly. The leader needs to be able to focus, yes, most of their energy on the internal environment, but cannot completely ignore the external environment either. There's a delicate balance, and neither the cell membrane nor the Golgi apparatus have their focus right. The mitochondria believes it is the best organelle because it creates the energy, the ATP, for the cell. This is very important to the cell, indeed, but it does not validate its claims. It cannot make ATP without the glucose from the chloroplast, and the mitochondria and the chloroplast have been at each other's throats this entire campaign. If either of these organelles, who nearly entirely rely on each other, become organelle in chief, the strife will only increase. This totally defeats the purpose of electing an organelle in chief in the first place. If you want a leader who will prioritize peace in our domain, you cannot elect either the mitochondria or the chloroplast. The nucleus is too prideful of what it contains inside it, not what it does for the cell. It thinks it is superior solely based on the fact that it happens to contain the genetic material of the cell. Yes, it has things that are important to the cell, but what can it do for you? The nucleus wants you to believe that it can be a strong leader when really all it could ever be is a dictator that would take over the cell, and that's never really worked out too well in history. The nucleus has expressed that it believes it's the best because it protects the DNA of the cell, and then proceeded to blame cancer on the cell membrane. The nucleus quite literally asked why we would work together instead of handling our own issues by ourselves and not working with each other to try to figure out the best solution. Our domain needs an organelle that will work with others to help our domain and to heal our domain, not one that plans to take it over. Our domain needs an organelle that has the technical skills and a vital role in the cell. We cannot have a cell, and certainly not one that functions properly, without the proteins that the ribosome synthesizes. The ribosome has alliances with all organelles. We know how to work together. We also have footholds already in other domains, initiating interdomain relations and peace. When you vote today, vote for the organelle that does not cause Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, blindness, cystic fibrosis, progeria, or cancer. Choose wisely, dear voters. Choose an organelle that is located in every cell, not just in one kingdom. Choose an organelle that has connections not only in eukarya, but in prokarya as well. Connections that will allow it to not only keep peace possible in this domain, but in all living organisms. Animals, plants, fungi, protists, bacteria, archaea, eukarya, and prokarya. Choose an organelle that has been working to support life in all kingdoms, all domains, since the beginning of life itself. Choose an organelle that provides vital macromolecules. When you vote today, vote for an organelle that prioritizes peace and healing. When you vote today, vote ribosome. My legs were shaking so bad. Maddie. Thank you. Other way? Which way?
Pause for a minute in case people try to come through.
Make sure it's comfortable. Just gonna do the other side.
And as soon as you guys
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Carmen. Where did Carmen go? Or were we going to put something on the screen? Okay. Should I wait till the class like fully changes?
I would, so you don't have. Just because the bell's gonna be loud. You might miss a key point if you're speaking to the bell.
It's not very long, so I don't know how many key points there are. That's good.
Get one more straggler. No, I don't want to. Well, I don't want to take one. Just I was. Dos minutos.
Drink water, yourself loose, kind of like a kicker, it's got ice.
I don't know what that means.
You don't have to.
I had a rebuttal for your age thing, but I didn't have time to put it in here. But I have a rebuttal. Huh? The Golgi apparatus is composed of stacked structures known as cisternae. Often, there are 4 to 8 cisternae in a stack, but there's been observed up to 60 in some protists. The Golgi apparatus is fundamental in sorting, packaging, and adjusting of macromolecules for cell secretion. The Golgi apparatus is found in every single eukaryotic cell. The Golgi apparatus is incredible at transportation, making sure the cell is clean, and it helps to protect our cell by creating a plasma membrane. Without Golgi, lysosomes would not be produced, meaning there would be a buildup of waste in our country, which would lead to our eventual death. Like all other organelles, the Golgi apparatus can cause disease, but with the help of medicines and therapies, symptoms can be eased, relieved, and even slowed. And we take full responsibility for these actions, unlike our opponents who deflect blame back onto the citizens of our great country. For example, did ribosome mention they also have a hand in cancer? The Golgi apparatus is often overlooked, but what most don't know is its importance and humility. The importance of the Golgi stems from the fact, that person distracted me, stems from the fact that it runs as a factory in which it receives proteins from the ER and then packages and processes them, ships them to their destinations, for example, lysosomes, which are used to clean the cell, and to the plasma membrane, which is used to protect the cell, and for secretion, which is essential to homeostasis. When we are elected, we will use our skills to create more blue-collar jobs by building lysosomes. We will advocate for public transportation. We will help with protection by building a stronger plasma membrane. Remember, go for Golgi.
Yeah, it's got like a little key. There you go.
So Carmen, you're gonna have to let me think.
Okay, so it can go in a pocket or just like clip onto your pocket, whatever's easier. It's got like a clip on the back.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. No, Jacob is. All right. So my organelle is the chloroplast. So the chloroplasts are pretty essential. They're located inside the cytoplasm of the membrane, and they're the little pill-shaped green things that provide energy for like all the plants in the world. And so they are essential to life because they produce energy for the cell. But many people may argue that they're not super essential because they don't hold stuff together like the cell membrane does. Well, this is false because, first of all, the cell membrane doesn't even hold stuff together. It's the cytoskeleton that really keeps the structure of the cell. And secondly, there wouldn't be anything to protect inside the cell if it wasn't for the chloroplast taking the energy from the sun and like making the cell exist. Without a chloroplast, the cell membrane couldn't do anything. So how many of you probably already know this, but the chloroplasts, how they work is they get sun and carbon dioxide and water, and they make it into oxygen and glucose, and this is what supports the plant. Many people may argue that chloroplasts are not in like any animal or human cells. They're not, directly affecting that. But I would argue that they actually are because, plants are the primary producers. Without the chloroplasts, there would be no plants, there would be no animals, there would be no humans because we would all die. Fun fact, if all the chloroplasts in the world stopped working right now, we would have 50 years for everything on the world to live. Then everything is dead. So the chloroplasts are very essential. How we would work with other organelles? Well, many people have said that we wouldn't be able to work with
the mitochondria, but we actually can. If we got elected, we would work with the mitochondria very well. Just kick Riley out of there, we're good. Yeah, and so without the chloroplast, you cannot do much. And so the vote for chloroplast, we got some little things over there. 3 all votes, you'll get a little dude. Yeah, so vote for chloroplast. We go green, vote for chloroplast. Yeah.
We have the mitochondria.
Okay. Here, let me do it. I'm gonna do it on your back.
I apologize.
Let's see. Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Right. No.
Okay, guys, last one.
Hello, everyone. Today, I'm going to be telling you why the mitochondria is the most important organelle in the cell and the best candidate for eukarya. We are oval-shaped with 2 membranes that are typically 0.5 to 10 in size. We are found in cytoplasm and are donated to the embryo from the mother's gametes. The outer membrane is freely permeable, allowing many molecules to pass through, whilst the interior membrane is far more selectively permeable. The inner membrane is folded and called cystae, which is what chemical reactants for energy production and use. Mitochondrial DNA is found in the cytoplasm and is free-floating, similar to prokaryotes, and is inherently maternal. The mitochondria provides power to the cell. Without it, large organisms, such as those in the domain of eukarya. After all, humans themselves use roughly their own body weight in ATP every day, namely in important organs such as the brain and heart. There are often thousands of mitochondria in each cell to allow the gargantuan energy use, which confirms the importance of it. Mitochondria are also used to store calcium for cell communication, and they generate heat, while also controlling cell growth and decay. Now, some of our oppositions may point out the fact that we bring lots of diseases, which is true. However, these diseases are persistent in around 1 to every 5,000 people. This may seem like a lot, but when compared to the entire world population, it makes up roughly 1%. The majority of the diseases in the mitochondria are genetic. Now, mitochondria do have their own DNA called mtDNA. However, the DNA only codes for 37 total proteins in the mitochondria. Most diseases are caused by mutations in nucleic DNA, which is more so the nucleus's fault. The other organelles, such as the cell membrane, ribosomes, and Golgi body, are also to blame. They have to make sure we receive the correct molecules, otherwise we cannot perform our job effectively, and everyone suffers from the disease. The most well-known disease is diabetes. This is when the body does not produce enough insulin. However, we plan to solve this by working with the cell membrane in order to allow more sugar into the cell. There are also treatments like injections which can help and even treat or solve the problem. This is unlike other organelles like the Golgi, which creates Alzheimer's. There is no cure for this, and the treatments only prolong the inevitable, which is memory loss and maybe even death. No ATP can quite be an issue. No energy means no work can be done. These are the reasons why the mitochondria are the best leaders for eukarya. Thank you.
Thank you.